the members and senators and our IPA members here, thanks very much for coming along. It's great to be here in Parliament House in Canberra, of course, on what is an important day for the Institute, but also on a day that we're trying to beat division bells and all sorts of things, so we'll do our best to sail through as quickly as we can. We have a few notes we wanted to pass through, and of course the packs you have in your hands also contain parts of the presentation, so it's not our intention to go through certainly death by PowerPoint, but this is part of our outreach as the Institute in terms of the work we do to build the profile of both the Institute but also our members and the work they do with small businesses. So it's earlier in the year we had the IPA lecture, the annual lecture now that happens on the budget, the eve of the federal budget at the National Press Club, and the Small Business Minister, of course, provided that lecture this year. And we're very pleased tonight that the Shadow Small Business Minister, the Honourable Bruce Billson, is here with us, joining us in this event as well. But the IPA is one of the top 25 accounting bodies in the world, and certainly as part of a network of 180 recognised accounting bodies as part of the International Federation. Being the top 25 is in the top 25 is something we're very proud of, and it's about the services we provide our 22,000 members and students. But our critical focus is on the small and medium enterprise segment of the profession. And when you consider the face of small business is changing rapidly, but it's becoming incredibly important in terms of public policy, we see our role as the trusted advisors to small business as being absolutely vital in sending that message here in Canberra and elsewhere to ensure good policy outcomes for small business. The face of small business, as I said, 68% of small business operators are male, 32% female, 29% born overseas, 71% were born in Australia. And the ageing base of the small business owner is also changing, where almost 60% are aged between 30 and 50. Our challenge is to send the message that small business is viable. Small business is a good pathway for people to choose and should be encouraged to go into it. But importantly, there's some elements that we believe need attention to encourage that investment in and the entrepreneurial activity that people need in the endeavour to go into small business. So as part of our campaign in launching the I Love Small Business Day, and the Shadow Minister will do that for us shortly, but is to send the message around what are the key issues that small business is facing now. So we've developed, through our members and through the clients of our members, a wish list of things that small business is actually seeking. And you have that wish list contained in your packs, and they are, in our view and the views of our members, the top 10 things that the clients of our members are actually saying. Things around substantial taxation reform for small business, getting a fairer system of tax for small business, to be able to assess and accurately assess the regulatory burden on Australia's small businesses, to provide assistance and ensure adequate access to finance is also a critical issue for our members and their clients. Providing education and training and reducing compliance costs by using the Standard Business Reporting tool is also an element of our wish list. We want to ensure that small businesses don't become and are used as the paymasters and tax collectors on behalf of the government and agencies, that we have a strong voice for small business in Cabinet and, importantly, a small business commissioner with effective powers. We believe there should be an appropriate retirement incomes policy for small business people and supportive workplace laws as well. These are all messages that are coming up from the clients of our members and through the Institute now to Canberra, and that's the mechanism we see ourselves as playing, as the voice of our members who are providing that assistance to Australia's small business community. So I commend the wish list to you and certainly encourage you in your own electorates and communities to advance the interests of Australia's small business community, and we see it as a very important aspect of what we do. I'll say a little bit more later about the NAB, but at this point it gives me great pleasure to call on the Shadow Minister for Small Business, a good friend of the IPA, the Honourable Bruce Billson.
Madam President, Christine, thank you for your welcome. I also want to acknowledge Brendan Wright from the National Australia Bank. For those of you who don't know, the NAB's been a great ally for small business for a great period of time, and with the leadership of Joseph Healy and Cindy Batchelor, I'm keen and encouraged by their recognition of how crucial small business is and access to finance is the oxygen for many small business, and it's great to see the NAB getting behind this initiative. To my parliamentary colleagues, particularly Senator Marshall and others from the Senate, great to see you here, and to all of you that have come along today, this is an important day. It is an important day. All of you would know that I love small business every day. And what we're hoping to see is that the Australian public values and appreciates small business in a way that we don't always see in terms of public policy discussions, in terms of media coverage, in terms of an appreciation about the challenges the men and women of small business face every day as they go about creating opportunities in communities, often very far from mines, out of our capital cities, in the suburbs, in the regions where small business is the economy. It's interesting, we're heading into a sporting period at the moment, and we're seeing our Olympic athletes and state of origin and the like, and we see great sporting heroes, and we admire them for their single-mindedness, their discipline, their perseverance, how their vocation occupies their entire existence. Well, that is the life of small business men and women as well. We're not looking for the adoration you might have for a Juddy or someone like that, but an acknowledgement, a recognition and an appreciation that small business men and women take risks. They show great courage, great self-belief. They look to create opportunities for themselves and others and for communities right across our continent. And if small business isn't strong, the nation isn't strong. Right now, small businesses are facing some challenges. The increasing insolvency rates, the worrying decline in small business startups, a sense that many things are coming at them and more to come, making a difficult situation worse. What those men and women are looking for is a clear statement that their political and civic and public opinion leaders understand their journey. And many of us have been down that pathway, and I often share the story about Kate, my gorgeous wife, and I. We had a small business venture, and to explain how in Mornington, in the middle of winter, when you could stand outside and get a natural exfoliation just from the weather, not needing to do anything, to be able to look down that street and not see a customer in sight, knowing we still had to make those lease payments, knowing our financial responsibilities for our business would not seek relief just because the weather was bad, knowing that we would be the last person to be paid after we paid our staff. And to realise that, we were living the small business dream, heating up hot dogs. I'd come home and say to my sweetheart, darling, I'm back from Canberra. How's the business going? And she'd say, hairy legs, go and fill out the baths. It's due in a couple of days and then I'll talk to you. Now, she explained to me that the paperwork was either in the hall stand, in the glove box of her car, or maybe in the boot. And that was one of many responsibilities she faced, one of the many duties and tasks that those not living that life might not be familiar with. I could get some quality time with her. I could heat up some hot dogs, shove them in a thermos, steam some buns. Being an ex-Macca's boy, that's what you do. Wrap them up in aluminium foil and head down to our storeroom, knowing the customers wouldn't be disturbing us, and we could eat hot dogs together, whispering sweet nothings, living the small business dream. It's an interesting journey when you've been on it. It is all-consuming. I might add, it was the greatest contraceptive I've ever seen. We were very focused on the success of our newest family member, and that was our business. Small business is the life. It is the motivation. It is all-encompassing for those that are in it, and they deserve the respect, the support and the acknowledgement for that courage, for that commitment, for the crucial contribution they make to our nation and to our economy and to the almost half of everybody employed in the private sector who sees their employer as a small businessman or woman. So today I am absolutely thrilled, not only because it's the right thing to do, to celebrate and recognise the small business men and women of Australia, but to give them the confidence that in the nation's capital we understand their toil. We are there as allies and assets for their ambition to not only create opportunities for themselves, but for those around them and their communities. And that's why we need to have one day a year when we encourage the nation to stop and to think about the crucial contribution of small business to our nation, its well-being, its prosperity, and our hopes for the future. So I'm tickled pink to say, let's make June 30 National Small Business Day. Let's encourage people to take a moment to recognise and appreciate the men and women in small business that create those opportunities, that take risks, that have their lives consumed by that goal. Let's show the next generation, those children wondering about their future careers, that being self-employed and running your own business is not only a virtuous thing to do with their adult life, but it's valued by our nation. Let's love small business. Let's pause on the 30th of June to say a great big thank you. And above all, let's make sure we can all work together to keep small business strong, because it makes our nation a better, more prosperous place. Thank you for having me here today.
Thanks very much, Bruce, and we really appreciate your support and also your ongoing activities with the Institute and certainly your passion for small business. We appreciate that sincerely. I should also point out, just noticed Senator Scott Ryan as well, the Shadow Parliamentary Secretary here as well. So thanks very much for being with us. To all the members and senators, we really appreciate it as well. It gives me great pleasure at this point to invite forward the General Manager for Distribution for the National Australia Bank, Brendan Wright, who's going to talk to us. We really appreciate the NAB's support both of this event, but importantly the support it gives the Institute as well, and importantly the focus it has on small business. And Brendan will talk a bit more about the activities of NAB, and importantly their focus on small business. Please welcome Brendan Wright.
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Shadow Minister Bruce Billson, to Christine Latham, Andrew Conway, the members of the House of Representatives and small business people that are here tonight. Thanks for joining us, and on behalf of NAB, seriously delighted to be here and be a part of this event, and we're proud to be involved. I am interested though, I know there's a lot going on between Parliament sitting and a function tonight apparently, but how many small business owners do we have here with us tonight, just out of interest? So thank you very much for coming along. The reality is, and some of this has already been touched on, the nature of what you do, your business and personal lives are intertwined like this, and it is a challenge for you to be here for nights like this, and it's great to have you here to celebrate a great event, which is I Love Small Business Day on the 30th of June. As a banker for a long time and in the business banking part of NAB, I did have some time in the early 90s running a small business, a timber manufacturing business, for a couple of years. And in the words of my father, there is no doubt that was character building stuff. It was at a time when I just got married to my wife Margaret, and we've been married now for 21 years. But the classic example of investing in a business, we just built our first modest 3-bedroom house at a place called Burpengary, about 21 k's from the CBD of Brisbane. And of course, concrete floors, sheets up on the windows, because all the freight and the investment was going into the small business. So I can seriously and in fair income about the fact that I understand what small business customers go through, and as a representative of NAB can say that from an organisation we are serious about as well, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. So I want to congratulate the IPA for organising this event, and I think it's fantastic, and we are thrilled to be involved. As Australia's leading business bank, NAB is committed to supporting the Australian small business community, and it is the engine room of the economy. You've heard that said before. Small businesses are great generators of activity, of employment, and are critical, very critical to the success of the Australian economy. Given 7 out of 10 of people that are employed by small business in the Australian economy, it's important that we acknowledge that small business makes a significant contribution to the Australian economy. Today's event is a fantastic initiative to acknowledge that, and we again are proud to be involved as NAB. While recognising the contribution small business make, we also need to ensure the right frameworks, structures are in place to encourage particularly entrepreneurship in the area of small business and focus on what they do best. We recognise it should be a national imperative for Australia that we put the needs of small business on the national agenda, and certainly you've heard from Bruce his passion around that in the IPA as well, and treat them as a very important part of the future of this country. Today's event provides a fantastic opportunity for local businesses to network as well with the members of Parliament, and again thank you very much to the IPA for the opportunity to be involved with this. We are delighted to be involved and look forward to our meeting and catching up with you as the event continues. Cheers. Yeah, well, that's up to you. Yeah,
Look, thanks very much, Brendan. We had the opportunity for members to suggest some questions of NAB just to facilitate a bit of an open chat. Now, I'm not sure, you're supposed to take that side. It's not going to go very long, don't worry. But there was a few questions came up around what the NAB's outlook is in terms of the small business sector, and some of the members are saying we appreciate your views or of NAB's views around the outlook in terms of the challenging environment it faces at the moment.
So, look, at the moment, outlook for the coming year, are we like to see turnaround in conditions or sentiment soon? Look, the people in this room, including particularly small business owners, understand that business confidence is subdued and it's challenging times, and which reflects the broader economic environment as well. But there are businesses that are performing well, and even in the tougher sectors also. So there's a multi-speed economy that's been commentated around a lot. The high dollar has no doubt impacted on industries such as retail and manufacturing and made it damn tough. But it's important, seriously, not to generalise around these type of things because there are parts of those sectors in particular that are going okay. So it's important that we continue to, for businesses to continue to innovate, expand into new markets or develop new product lines or look at different ways how they can participate in the industry that they've chosen to be a part of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we have a network of 3,500 practices providing advice literally to millions of Australians. I know NAB has over 300,000 small business customers that are known of, let alone those that aren't known of as well in terms of those that are funding operations differently. But what sort of advice is NAB providing small businesses in terms of that environment that's facing now?
I think the key bit of advice, Andrew, is around, there's been structural changes underway in many of the sectors, including, as I touched on, retailing and manufacturing in particular. So with that pace of change and I suppose the consequence of that, resources boom, Australian dollar moving north, or quite frankly south and then north again, it really creates a challenge, and particularly for tourism as well, which has been impacted also by higher consumer savings and also the Aussie dollar driving overseas, travel overseas, for example. So our advice is, in all seriousness, is to have quality advisors, and access to. In my 25 years as a business banker and running a business, there is no doubt the important people in your life as a small business, and I genuinely mean this, is your accountant, closely followed by your lawyer, and it's also useful to have a good damn banker as well. So my advice is to connect with those people. NAB's is a strong business bank, and we can provide genuine access to the help, guidance and advice that our business customers need. So my advice to small businesses are to connect with those specialists or those professionals when you're finding times tough and you need a hand.
Yeah. Look, thanks, Brendan. And we thought we better get some questions in because, let it be said, there was question time at Parliament House today, and we managed to get some questions in. But look, thanks very much finally for being a partner of the event and for your support. Please join me in thanking Brendan Wright, but also Bruce Billson as well, and all the members and senators for coming along. Thanks very much and enjoy it. Thanks.